How to use Nu-Calgon's Rx11 flush. Today I'm using this flush on these indoor coils, and I'm going to show you how to use it. You're watching HVAC Tips for Technicians. I'm Tad. Let's get started. Now let's look at what's inside the box. And this is enough to flush the line sets on 3 5-ton systems. So this should be enough to flush those 3 indoor coils. That's all I'm using this for. We're running new line sets on this job for these 3 Samsung Hylux condensers. So I have some instructions right here, which is really nice. So you can read over these 5 steps and you'll know how to use this starter kit. And when you open it up, you got this bottle here, and then looks like we've got this Rx11 flush liquid. So this is the flush tank, okay, and this is the Rx11 flush liquid. Here is a hose, yellow hose, and we've got this injecting tool, and then we've got some instructions. Pretty nice. So this is called the flush gun right here. The flush liquid, the flush hose, and then we've got the flush tank. Pretty simple. 4 pieces and some instructions. It's recommended that you do not use this flush to blow through filter dryers and metering devices like the TXVs on these 3 indoor coils. So I'm going to be removing these TXVs before I administer the flush. That TXV, that TXV, and that TXV. I'm going to take those out. I got all the TXVs out, so I am almost ready to use the flush. I'm going to take all these screens out, clean them, put them back in, make sure that there's nothing behind the screens, make sure that the screens are not clogged. So I've got my nitrogen, got the regulator, got the flush. We're almost ready. Here are the instructions. Take a moment, pause the video if you want to read over this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the flush hose and the flush gun, which is step 3, to the outlet side of the flush tank valve opposite of the ball valve. So this is the ball valve, so opposite of that is the outlet side of this tank. And I've attached my flush hose and my flush gun to that. Now I'm going to unscrew the top and pour the Rx11 flush liquid into the flush tank, and the tank will hold up to 24 ounces of the Rx11 flush. Reassemble components, then attach the hose from a pressure regulated nitrogen tank to the inlet side of the ball valve side of the flush tank. All right, so take the lid off of the flush tank. There's a little dip tube. Take the lid off of the Rx11 liquid, and then pour it inside. And this is non-toxic, non-flammable. Emptied the can. Now take this top for the flush tank and screw it back in. Careful not to cross thread. Now that we've got it back on, take this hose and screw it to the outlet. Make sure it's nice and tight. Let's go to the next step. Now I'm going to connect my regulator and my nitrogen to the inlet side of this tank with this hose. Now it says set the pressure regulator to 50 psi of nitrogen, which I did. I've got it set to 50. It says then slowly open the inlet ball valve to pressurize the flush tank. Do not exceed 200 psi. After pressurizing the injector tank, close both valves and remove the nitrogen fill hose. Never flush with nitrogen attached to the flush tank. Okay, so I'm going to pressurize this tank now. Pressurizing the flush tank. Here we go. Okay, that was pretty simple. All right. Close the ball valve. Make sure the tank's shut off. All right. Now this tank is pressurized. Insert the flush gun in entry point of line and inject flush. 1 can of Rx11 flush liquid will typically clean 3 line sets. Results will vary according to contamination level and tubing diameter. After injecting the Rx11 flush liquid, proceed to purge the lines with 120 psi of nitrogen, capturing the solvent oil residue in the recovery container. Clear flush solvent indicates the lines are clean. If the exiting solvent is not clear, repeat the flush procedure. Pull vacuum to remove any residual solvent. Line set is now clean and ready to service. Pretty simple. So I've established my entry and my out point, and my entry is where I'm going to use the flush gun, and I'm going to get probably a couple rags and a bucket to catch the residue.
Here we go.
All right, so
Let's see this apparatus.
take this, put it here. Now I am going to put this here and then
See what happens.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. That should be enough. Oh, keep that right here. That way it doesn't come out. Now I'm going to get my nitrogen and I'm going to hook it up and use the flush gun, and then I'm going to blow whatever's in here out. We're going to see what we find.
All right, let's get her done.
All right, blowing it through.
I smell nice.
It'll be good, Willie.
Well,
Wow, look at that.
Oh my goodness.
Look at that green, whatever that is.
Let's
Keep
see.
it going, Willie.
Pressurize.
Increase the pressure a little bit. Oh, wow. Increase the pressure more.
Forward.
No, it's coming out steady, though. Oh, no, stop dripping. Yep, stop. All right.
Well, let's see it. Get her on film.
What is that?
Wow. Looks like antifreeze.
And look at that. The particulates that came out.
The black.
Look at that.
Seasoning.
Ooh.
Seasoning.
Incoming.
Nice. All right, time to do the rest like that one. But what is that?
I don't know.
I don't
Here
know
we
what
go.
that is, but that liquid going in was clear. When I was blowing the nitrogen through that coil, I was using my blue hose, and I had my hand like this. Instead of doing that, now that I think of it, I could have just used the yellow hose that came with the starter kit and the hose gun. It would have made more sense, it would have been easier, and I wanted to show you that I normally just use the blue hose and I use it the way I did, but this would have been easier. So, that's what you can do. All right, so most people don't know, but there are screens inside. And you see that? You see what just fell out?
Big chunks.
Yeah, big chunks of whatever that is. See that? Those are like metal shavings. So if you don't know that, we put these new condensers in, and these screens and all that crap's in there.
Restrict
Not gonna
flow.
last long.
Definitely restricts flow.
No, check this one out.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That crud on her.
Look at how black that is. All right, that's 2 screens. And here's the third one. Let's see what falls out. I'll make it to where you can see it. See, there's the other screen.
Mm-hmm.
How dirty that is, man.
Good and black.
No bueno. The coil with the most particulate, the coil with the most residue was this first coil. And I'm guessing that's because the line sets were 1 circuit before, and then that 1 circuit tied into all these coils, but this was the first coil in line. So I'm guessing more of that contamination got into that coil. So I'm so glad that I was able to use the Rx11 flush and remove that residue. Rx11 flush works. And if I had not cleaned out the indoor coils on these units, then I would have likely had some problems with the system that we're installing, the Samsung High-Lex condensers. If you want to learn more about the High-Lex condenser and that install video, I put that down in the link in the description so you can go down there and check it out. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want to learn more about the Rx11 flush, you want to purchase this, I've got Nu-Calgon's website down in the description. I've got some links for the Rx11 flush. And now that I've got the starter kit, that means I don't have to buy the flush tank or the hose or the flush gun. All I have to buy now is just the flush liquid. So I'll get some more liquid for my new installs, my retrofits, so I can clean out those line sets, so I can clean out those indoor coils if I have to. If you have a question, put it down in the comments. If you don't have a question, let me know who you are and let me know where you're from. If you want more videos like this, check out my playlist, HVAC Tips for Technicians. You've been watching HVAC Tips for Technicians. I'm Tad, and I'll keep you cool if you let me.